over 400 years ago, Copernicus and Galileo, they were locked up. They got jailed in their house for the rest of their lives until they died because they dared to say that the Earth was not the center of the universe. Of course, we find out later that that's just a misinterpretation of what that really meant, because of course every point in the universe is the center of creation. But I won't get too hefty into philosophical concepts like that on this channel. But if you'd like to learn more about that, go to my channel, Sage, and click on the video that's on the top there that says God is a black hole with a W, the Grand Unified Field Theory. So, I used to be, I used to research the Illuminati and stuff, research, whatever you want to call it. It's really just, kind of just messing around. It's not really researching anything. But I used to research them, and I used to, have fun looking up what they were doing. And I thought, oh my God, these guys are so evil. These are so bad. These are the worst people in the world. They're just completely, terminally corrupt. There's nothing that can save them. There's nothing that can save us from them. Until I realized something from a Kabbalistic understanding, which says basically that the only purpose of evil is to stimulate good. So really think about that. The only purpose of evil is to stimulate good. So what is the Illuminati from a cosmic perspective? Because remember, the cosmic perspective is the only truth. We might think it's so strange, the cosmic perspective, but in actuality, our minuscule little mountain of lies, it doesn't exist. Once we die, our mountain of lies will fade away. And we've been so brainwashed that we think that death is the end. Okay, well, hold on for a second. If death is the end, and if souls don't go anywhere, then where did the first soul come from? It just popped up out of dirt crashing around randomly in the universe? The first theory of thermodynamics is that order decays into chaos. But if that's true, then what we should have with our universe is a massive chaos, meaning just dirt flying around, clumps of gravity and just whatever. But when we look around, we see higher and complexified degrees of order. Ourselves, we're so complex. We're so beautiful and complicated and intricate and amazing, of course. And this didn't arise out of non-order. Let me tell you that. It arose out of perfect intelligence. Every last granule on the earth of sand is intelligent. Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is everywhere. It is outside and inside you, not in houses of wood and stone, meaning not in churches. He said, lift a stone and you will find me. Split a piece of wood and I am there. He didn't mean, go chop down churches. He meant that every last atom is a portal to the infinite oneness. It goes smaller and it goes bigger in all directions like a fractal. And each point is a perspective, just like you are perspective. So, death is nothing more than a return to the sea of infinite awareness. But that's getting a little bit off topic. What I was initially saying is that evil's purpose is to stimulate good. Evil is nothing more than the twin brother of goodness. And the middle, the neutrality, that purity is beyond both of them. If you look at the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, you'll find that for every good Sephiroth, which is the pillar of mercy on the right side, there is a bad Sephiroth on the left, which is not a bad, but it's necessary for evolution. There has to be a stimulant to evolve order out of chaos. Chaos has to bang around and figure out what doesn't work. That's the bad part. And then comes in the order to deliver the answer, because every last bit of the universe is intelligent. So, the earth invited Lucifer as was apparent in the chapter of Genesis, where it talks about the snake creeping onto the tree of life in the Garden of Eden. The snake represents the Illuminati, represents Lucifer, who gave us knowledge of good and evil, so that we left the tree of the Garden of Good and Evil, into the physical world, and was placed a flaming sword to guard the garden. The flaming sword in the Kabbalah refers to the flow of energy that comes from higher dimensions to lower dimensions. It zigzags like that. So the flaming sword represents the energy that blocks us out from getting to the higher dimensions, the energy that's falling from those higher dimensions, which you can tap into through meditation. This is a fact. It's not a belief that I can tap into energy. This is a fact that I can tap into energy. Right now it's throbbing through my forehead, right about there, all through here, chest, throat. So, what is Lucifer then? Well, when we were in the Garden of Eden, we were naked, meaning that we had no clothes like our personalities that we put on, these little identities that we give ourselves. We were naked like a tree, naked like a deer. And we had to learn in order to evolve. So we took from the knowledge of good and evil, the knowledge of opposites, of duality. So we stepped out of the garden and came into this place where we find ourselves now to learn and to evolve. And that learning needed a strong parent, a mother, a destroyer, and a teacher, and all in one. A destroyer, because in Hindu terms, the term destruction really means renewal. It means renewal, basically. It means destroy in order to rebuild. So the Illuminati represent that aspect, that Plutarchian aspect. Pluto, which is the destroyer, represents that archetype, or Shiva. It comes in and exemplifies the evil so that we recognize what's going on and we learn. And then evolution happens. So what they are is the evil influence, which then stimulates the good influence into being, into activating itself and evolving the earth in general. One of the principles of Hermetic alchemy, the 7 principles of Hermetic alchemy, states that the principle of cause and effect states that for every action to the negative, imagine it like a swing of a clock. For every swing of this clock, of the pendulum, that swings to the negative side, there will be a reverse swing to the positive side. I'm sure that all of you have experienced this happening if you think about it for a second and really apply that to your life. I know I have. I know that I have. You know, I was crazy in high school. I was wild and stupid, and it really helped me to become more introverted afterwards, to really seek reality. I had so much vanity and bullshit that I was like, okay, I want some meaning and truth. I know that there's more to life. I gotta figure it out. It's a shame that people tell you that you can't. They tell you that there's just some things that you'll never know, like who's God, what's the nature of creation, why are we here, what are we doing, all this stuff. But you can figure it out. I promise you that the answers are on this earth to be found. That's another side effect of that brainwashing that I was talking about. It makes you think that searching for those things are stupid, get back to work, you know? It makes you think that you should be a man. I talked about this also in my video that I released called, or on my Shakti Boss Sage channel called Archetypes and Mind Control. And it touched on how that archetypes like Bart Simpson are introduced through the media, so they get into our heads and they become the thought police. You know, we're thinking in our heads, oh, you know, don't be nice to that chick, you know, she's a bitch or whatever. That's the thought police in your head that prevents you from being who you are. It keeps you constantly fighting yourself, constantly separated from yourself. It took me a while to figure this stuff out in deep meditation, you know, and if you go into deep meditation, I promise you, you can get rid of the thought police. It's definitely possible. I've done it very effectively. It's almost gone completely out of my head. You just take attention away from it, constantly taking attention away from it.